Thought experiments are an incredible tool, right? They start with a simple what if and end up revealing these amazing hidden truths about our world. By imagining something impossible, we get to see what's actually essential. So today, we're diving into a scenario that feels like it's straight out of a movie, one that shows just how fragile our everyday reality really is.
So here it is, our big question. What if day turned into a continuous night for 24 straight hours? Just picture it. You wake up and it's dark. Not an eclipse, not some crazy storm. The sun just doesn't rise. What happens then?
Okay, let's break this whole thing down, starting right from the get-go. The first few hours, this is when 8 billion people all realize, pretty much at the same time, that something is very, very wrong. Now, you might think the first reaction would be terror, but it's more likely to be just total disbelief. Everyone would be checking their clocks, scrolling through their phones, looking for some news alert about a massive, unpredicted eclipse. But as those minutes stretch into an hour, and then 2, that disbelief would start to curdle into this raw global panic. The rhythm we all live by would just be broken. And this is where the dominoes really start to fall. It kicks off with that mass human confusion, which then triggers this massive cascade of system failures. I mean, look how fast it all unravels. Every single light, TV, and computer gets switched on at once, creating this insane demand that our infrastructure was never, ever built to handle. The scale of this is just staggering. We're talking about an immediate surge in energy demand of over 150%, instantly. Our power grids, which are all designed for predictable daily cycles, would get hit with a sledgehammer. Widespread blackouts wouldn't just be a possibility, they'd be a dead certainty. But here's the thing. This isn't just a human crisis. Not even close. The sun's absence strikes right at the very heart of the natural world. And all of a sudden, our power outages start to look kinda trivial compared to what's happening to the planet itself. It all comes down to this one process we all learned about in school, photosynthesis. It's literally the engine of life on Earth. It creates the food we eat, the oxygen we breathe. And in our 24-hour night, that engine just switches off. Everywhere, all at once. The consequences are almost unthinkable. And it's not just plants. Think about every animal out there. The diurnal ones, the animals active during the day, they're suddenly plunged into a world they're not built for. They'd be completely confused, totally vulnerable. You'd think nocturnal animals would have it made, right? But even for them, their prey would be acting erratically, the whole ecosystem thrown into chaos. It's not an advantage, it's a total breakdown of the system. Yeah, this chart really puts it in black and white, doesn't it? Plant growth? 0. The oxygen getting pumped into our atmosphere? 0. Animal disorientation? Almost 100%. For 24 hours, the fundamental biological cycles that keep this planet alive just stop. It's like someone hit the universe's pause button. So, as the hours keep dragging on, the physical crisis starts to shift into something else, something deeper, a gnawing, psychological one. I mean, what happens to the human mind when the one thing you can always count on, the sunrise, is broken? This quote absolutely nails it. See, we don't just see the sun, we feel its rhythm deep down. It sets our internal clocks, our circadian rhythms, and without that cue, our very perception of time would start to dissolve. Hours would blur together, anxiety would just go through the roof as the one constant we've ever known just vanishes. Let's just walk through this. It starts off as simple confusion, but by hour 6, with power grids failing and no official word on what's happening, that confusion turns into real, widespread anxiety. Halfway through, at the 12-hour mark, our internal sense of time is completely shot. And as we get closer to that 18th hour with still no sign of dawn, a deep primal fear and a feeling of being utterly alone would take over. And this is what happens to us, to society. Global supply chains, which are all timed to the sun moving across the planet, they stop. Dead. Social order gets tense and unpredictable. Daily life as we know it, gone. You realize that everything we've built, every routine, is based on the simple promise of a sunrise. And without it, the very pillars of our society start to crumble. But remember, our thought experiment only lasts for 24 hours. So after a day of absolute chaos, something incredible happens. We get our sun back. And this is where the real lesson is. Seriously, can you even imagine that feeling? That first tiny glimmer of light on the horizon? It would be met with this huge collective gasp of relief from billions of people. It would be, without a doubt, the most beautiful sunrise in human history. And in that moment, we wouldn't just see the light, we would finally understand what it truly means. So this whole ordeal really just peels back the layers and shows us what we're built on. It's so much more than our fragile power grids. We literally depend on the energy from a star 93 million miles away, on the psychological comfort of a predictable sunrise, on an invisible process happening in leaves, and on the simple, reliable rhythm of day and night. These are the foundations of everything, and we almost never think about them. And that kind of brings us to the final thought here. This 24-hour night was just an experiment, sure, but it forces us to ask a very real question. By seeing what we would lose in a world without a dawn, we can see the invisible structure